Hey there guys, it's Chris here again from Team Suck for the Win, and let's talk about something Bushiroad have done that's really good. For those of you who don't know, this literally came out like 30 minutes ago or something, so very recent news. But they are errataing Reverse Skull Guilty Wave to deal with a really cancerous loop that was just straight up unhealthy for the game. So they explain what the loop is. So that's here. This completely summarizes it. The opponent can't do anything about it unless they have some form of counter removal, and even then, that can often, if your opponent uses Guilty Wave to add another Guilty Wave, because you will have to use the shot. No, sorry, you can't do that. But if your opponent is just thinking ahead in the off chance that you have counter destruction and adds another Guilty Wave, it's screwed. If they added the Mud Demon, then you're probably okay. They don't actually explain exactly what it is, but basically you use Mud Demon and use Guilty Wave. And Mud Demon in effect reduced Guilty Wave's cost to 1 gauge, and you got three crit attacks out of it, and you got an additional 2 crit added to your Zeta, which meant that for 1 gauge you were adding 5 crit damage, which was just straight up cancerous. And I myself, using this loop, have had a 70 damage turn. If I can find the replay, I will put it in the description. I probably won't be able to find the replay, but if I can, I will put it there. But like, you can ask in Joel's Discord about it. 70 damage. This did happen, which is ridiculous. 70 damage. It's unheard of. Like, maybe I think Dungeon could manage 11 or 12 back in the day, and that was seen as broken. So 70 is just straight up ridiculous. There wasn't even that uncommon. It was just to sort of sit on gauge for a bit. Anyway, so the reason I want to talk about this is because it's a really good thing to have to happen, and it's set a really great precedent, and it's showed that the Bodyfight R&D team actually do pay quite a lot of attention and really do care about the quality of life of the game. So let me explain why. So first of all, they give their reasons here for nerfing it to, as you can see there, you can only add non-impact monsters, which is the perfect nerf. So they say, okay, we could have banned the card. However, this is unfair to other Dark Hero decks because obviously Zeta is not the only way to build Dark Heroes. There is Mukuro Dark Heroes, that thing which we had before Zeta. So obviously, you can't like to be able to use them. So, you're getting rid of it for no reason. I'll come back to the second one in a sec. And then you could ban it for use in combination with certain cards. So there's a precedent for this, going to Cardfight Vanguard. I believe it was Dual Knight Salome. It was the dog thing where you could only use it if you had a certain amount of Dual Knight grade 3s, because it was really cancerous with Soul Saver. So that's what they did, and that worked, but it was not a great way of doing it. You force more restrictions, and it's a really ugly way to handle a restriction. It gets the job done, but it is complicated. The one that actually really got me interested here is that the value of Reverse Skull Guilty Wave will no doubt drop to 0. Now, there are two interpretations for that. You could take it as, within the game, the card has 0 value, it doesn't need to exist, which I think it's a valid interpretation, but I think the far more interesting one is the monetary value would no doubt drop to 0. Now that's really important, because that means that not only is Bushiroad acknowledging the existence of a secondary market, which it does exist, but card game companies like to, ideally for them, the only way you get your cards is just by buying more boxes until you pull them. That's their ideal business model. There is no, there is limited trading, even though they're called trading card games. You just buy more, and that would be great for them, right? But this we see that they are acknowledging its existence, and not only that, but they are acknowledging that they are monitoring the secondary market. I think in that, if we put this piece of information together with their recent reprint policy, it seems that they are very clever in monitoring exactly what cards need reprinting, exactly which cards are at risk of spiking, exactly which cards are at risk of such and such, which cards are getting harder to find. And it's a really promising outlook, in my opinion, because it means that, they are being really good with monitoring the state of the game at any given point in time and planning ahead in the future, such that there is never the great big blue Dragon Shield shortage that there was way back in Season 2 when no one can get a blue dragon shield, because you have to be playing back in set 1, otherwise good luck. So yeah, this is really good. I'm really happy to see that, and that's one of the most that's definitely one of the best things about this article, because it's them acknowledging the secondary market and saying that they really do pay attention to it. If you want to read into it, I mean, I might be reading into it too much there, but I like to think that's what it says. Then they talk about, okay, so we could restrict the card, we could limit to 1 or 2 of. That does not solve the problem, limiting it to 1 or 2 at all, because if I get lucky and top deck into it, I still win instantly, basically. And it is searchable, as I say. Additionally, it is a really unhealthy card to exist as a threat, even at 1 or 2, because it pretty much forces every single deck to main Sharpness Field. Now, one could make the argument that, oh, well, it just forces you to run some other kind of Zeta and main Sharpness Field to completely deal with other Zeta decks, but at that point, there's no point, because you're forcing a staple, 3 to 4 of card into every single main deck just to be able to deal with a potential matchup, because you're that scared of a potential 70 damage turn which you can do nothing about. So yeah, it's really unhealthy, and it's good that they decided not to restrict it and they decided to errata it. Now, this isn't the first time they've done it. There is a precedent here. However, this is the first time that it has been something that's really needed, because the previous infinite loop, whilst technically, yes, it was infinite, was ungainly, difficult to pull off, and didn't, yeah, you'd win the game, but the deck that you'd be forced to use was not great. This loop arose out of nothing. It was like, okay, cool, we got this new deck, and oh shit, let me just grab my Guilty Waves, here's some sweet new Mud Demons, and now this deck is complete cancer. It's just something that happened, and it was clearly an oversight on their part, because they didn't realise that, oh shit, this is totally cancer. Which is, things slip through the cracks now and then, so you can't fault them for it. But it's good that they've done this. So yeah, there is a precedent, but I think this is really... It gives a really nice positive outlook into the future of the game, because it shows that they are... This is clearly in response to all the Japanese tops. If you go onto the Japanese Body Fight website, you can just straight up find like all the tops from recent events, and you'll see they're like basically all Zeta. It feels like tier 0 meta, even though it isn't, because Zeta, all you do is drop Sharpness Field, and then the loop is disabled, and then there's plenty of other ways to deal with them, because without the loop they become strong but not OP. But that's tangential. The point is that it's a really nice positive outlook on the game, because it shows that Bushiroad is paying attention to the secondary market, Bushiroad is paying attention to the health of the game, to the community, and that Bushiroad really does not want situations like in Yu-Gi-Oh!, where for an extended period of time you will have tier 0 meta. We can look at the Dragon Rulers, we can look to the future in Yu-Gi-Oh! When we're looking at that rat meta. Anyway, so yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk about this and say that from January 20th, your Guilty Waves are going to be worth absolutely nothing because of the errata, as in they'll be worth exactly how much they were before, because they're still worth about $4 or $5, and they will still be worth about $4 or $5, but they will not spike to the 15 or 20 that people thought they were going to, which is good, because I almost bought 20 and I'm really glad I didn't. Anyway, thanks for watching, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this little information segment. Am I back? Maybe, I don't know, we'll see. Thanks for watching. This is Chris from Team Tax to Win. I'll see you next time eventually, whenever that is.